Hey everybody, welcome to Foundation Part 2. This is the first article and video in a series on AI. If you missed the first one, it's in the link. It's linked to this video. You can go back and watch that one first. Highly recommend you do this. If you found this one by chance, you're going to be confused on some of the concepts I'm going to talk about. In the first video, we talked through basically why redundancies exist in companies, why maybe it's been too expensive for them to fix those redundancies or difficult. In this part, we're going to actually talk through how AI can actually make that not that difficult and how it can step in and make some changes. And I'm going to give you some examples. Hey, when you're in the video, you're going to see me point to some figures and graphs. I realize post-production that those are way too small to read, so they're linked in the video in the description of the video here, so you can look at them online. So when you get to that point, remember just to pause the video, click the link to open up the figures. So you can follow along and figure out what I'm talking about. Enjoy part 2, where I talk about how, yes, AI can potentially take over what you do.
In this article, in this part, I'm just going to talk about what it can take over, right? And you may have an inkling based upon what I've said so far. I want you to think about this. If you find that your role is about information management, like literally you are moving information between a bunch of different systems, you are probably more at risk than anybody else for AI to take over, because AI can do that without, today AI can do that without needing a whole lot of organizational change, right? And so I have a couple examples for this. The first one is I want you to think about office space, and I know hopefully this is the last series where I invoke office space as my Bible on this, but I want you to think about Tom, who's the customer service guy, customer success guy, probably with some sort of product management title, who's being interviewed by the Bobs. And one of the Bobs asks him, what would you say you actually do here? And, Tom's like, well, I take the requirements from the customers and I give them to the engineers, right? Well, if you don't remember it doesn't come to mind, watch this clip for a second, come back to me.
So you physically take the specs from the customer?
Well, no, my secretary does that, or the fax.
What would you say you do here?
I have people skills.
All right, so that clip is a little dated, right? Because you hear him talking about receiving requirements via the fax or and his secretary, handing things off to engineers. But look at this little clip here from a recent post on LinkedIn. Now, pause the video if you want to read it in full. But in short, it talks about how they received a meeting invite via Zoom to then go log minutes on some other app, to take a request from a customer from a Confluence page, to go put it in their task management system, to then move it over to their product roadmap system, to then pass it to the engineers to do X. And that was their day. And they never got bleeping stuff done all day. That's what I talk about when I talk about information managers. So regardless of what your title is, product manager, program management, project manager, product owner, I don't care. If your job is just keeping all these different systems up to date and shuffling information around for people to know what's going on in the company, you're target number one for potential elimination. I bring that example up as a very simple one, especially if you're on feature teams. That's very common. Here are a few other examples that we're going to touch upon in the next series of how AI can replace a lot of these things. Look, if you're in market or product research, most of your job is about finding, compiling, and extracting information for somebody else to read and review and make a decision. That's why I say if you're an analyst or a researcher or even in analytics, you're at risk, because AI can do those things really well. AI is actually really, really good at taking disparate pieces of information, tying it all together, and providing an analysis out to somebody else to make a decision, right? If you think about the whole program management or execution aspects of product management, of managing the development cycles, tracking what's going in, what's coming out, what the velocity of the team is, coordinating everybody across when the release dates are going to go out, making sure the release goes out, coordinating all the internal teams to be trained on collateral and operations, all those things that are in the realm of product management. Maybe you call it program management in your company. A lot of those things involve shuffling data around as well and producing an outcome that other people can read and then make decisions on. Think about your actual go-to-market activities and growth. How many of you have simply asked ChatGPT to write a release for you? You can actually pass it Jira stories and say, can you create a summary of what's in this release with all these stories? If you haven't tried it, try it. You'll be amazed or scared or shocked or all three. So if you're in the business of, you're a product marketer or you're a product management, you're responsible for this. You write release notes, you write customer communications, you coordinate sending all that information out to other people. You build campaigns to do all that. Your job can be significantly changed by AI. And I have a couple scenarios, and I'm not going to talk you through them entirely. What I'm going to encourage you to do is pause the video or go pop over to my article to look at these images. The first image you're going to look at is what is a typical from customer request all the way to live in product. How many people touch the item in question, the idea of the change request, and how long does it take to, not how long, but how many people does it go through to actually get released? Here's the image. I'm going to pause. You pause the video, come back to me, and I'll summarize. So in summary, look at that. 12 steps, touches no less than 10 people. And, this is an extreme case in some instances. I know some people who work at really small startups that would be like going, oh my gosh, what do all those people do? There's no way there's that many people that touch a single feature like that. Oh my gosh. Then you have people at large companies going, hey, you missed a few steps. Where's the change control board? Where's the, design review committee? Where's this and that, right? So there can actually be many more people involved, right? And this is a perfect example of where the redundancy exists, right? Because you can look at a lot of these boxes and just look at why are there so many people in product that touch this? Why is there a product manager, product owner, program manager? Why so many? And why is there so many steps where you're just moving data around, right? If you are Bob looking at this, you're like, whoa, what's going on here, all right? And then if you look at this next image of what the world could look like if AI were to step in, once again, I'm going to pause, take a look, pause the video, watch it. All right, okay. AI can remove more than 60% of the work activities of most of the people on that list. And I want you to notice that other than the engineers, who aren't even included in this list, other than the engineers, the only person or people producing new work in this flow is the designer and the user researcher. Everybody else is consuming information and making decisions about what to do next. The product manager isn't worrying about converting everything to stories or any of that. The AI does all that. They're not worried about looking up how many times this request has been made or what it's similar to or keeping any of the information systems up to date. The AI is handling that. They're just looking at it and deciding, do we work on this or not? Do we work on it next or not? What order does it go in the backlog? Right? Then the engineers are making a lot of assumptions about how much the engineers are self-guided and whatnot, but they just built it. And then the AI is monitoring things for the potential next release, grabs it, preps all the collateral to send it out, and once everything's done, ships it. Now, you can be looking at this and your BS meter is probably like way up here off the charts, right?
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
Oh, there's no way AI can do all that. Even more so, my company would have to change a lot in order for any of this to even be theoretically possible. You're probably partially right? But you're also partially wrong, because I will tell you that today, yes, AI can do all these things. And if AI can do all those things today, maybe a little bit kludgy with a lot of tools kind of intermixed to make it happen, it means that in the next few years, it's going to be commercialized, operationalized, and frankly, commoditized to the point where it is easy for your company to potentially adopt them. So if you're safe now, don't assume you're going to be safe forever. Don't take my word for it. I want you to trust me right now for this article, but you don't have to fully take my word for it, because in the next article, I'm going to walk you through some specific examples. I'm going to show you some real technology that's in play today that can do a lot of the things that I just mentioned. I'm going to give you some examples to try on your own, and I'm going to further explain why this is coming and why it's coming so fast. That's the next article, called iRobot. The article after that, called The Last Question, I'm going to cover what are you going to do about it. Basically, you as a, regardless of whether you work on feature teams, product teams, you're a program manager, you're a product manager, what do you need to do to prepare your skills to prepare your knowledge, and to be able to take advantage and take advantage of this opportunity. I know it's cliche. Every product manager looks at every problem as an opportunity. This one's actually true. Yes, there are potentially people who, if they are information hustlers, they're most likely to be eliminated if they don't do anything to change how they do their jobs and how they take advantage of AI. I'm going to explore that and more in the next articles. Once again, the actual article, the written version of this is in LinkedIn. There's a link on the video. Remember to like and subscribe. I really appreciate you following me. I look forward to your comments and the conversation.